Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of eDiscovery After Hours. My guest this week was Matt Rasmussen from ModeOne Technologies. This was a really cool conversation for a variety of reasons. Usually, these episodes are about 20, 25 minutes long, and then I'll chat with the guest for 10 or 15 minutes off camera. Matt and I just talked for about another hour and a half. He is a fantastic guy, and this episode was a little different. We talked through some of the things like, what was this glass of wine and what was the story behind it? Him growing up in Nebraska and how he made his way to Southern California and all that. But I kind of turned this episode a little bit into a how I built this legal tech edition. If you're not familiar with that show, it's an absolutely incredible podcast where the host interviews entrepreneurs and figures out how they went about building their companies. ModeOne has a lot of wind at their back and some really impressive recent announcements. And so it was neat to get kind of a real-time insider's perspective as to how the ideation for this product came to be and leaving his job at an AM law firm. And so it was a really great episode. I know you're going to like it. Our sponsor, as always, is Discovery Master. When you are tracking document review projects in multiple instances of relativity, which is more and more common as Rel 1 adoption increases, all of those server instances are still there. That data is not going anywhere for a long time as these cases matriculate. So you're having to monitor even more spaces now. You can see all of your document review projects in one place. Check out discoverymaster.co. Thanks for tuning in.
Quick time!
You don't know how to drink, your whole generation.
Drinks on the house.
Yes, sir.
No, wait a second. Drinks are 50% off.
Right.
No, wait a second. Double the price of everything.
And I work only 16 hours a day.
A union man only works 8 hours a day.
I belong to 2 unions.
And now, eDiscovery After Hours with your host, Ryan Short.
All right, here we go. Matt, cheers, man. Welcome to eDiscovery After Hours.
Thanks for having me.
Here we go. It's live, baby. What are we working on tonight? What is this?
I am drinking a DuMol Pinot Noir is what I'm doing. What about you?
Yeah, I know I'm doing the same. I got to do what the guest does.
That's right.
So not only am I doing the DuMol Pinot, but since you're in Southern California, let's see if I tip. Can you see the right? No, I can't see the writing. It's a Lake Arrowhead glass.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, man.
Did you go up there and did you visit there or what?
So my father-in-law grew up in Glendale, California.
Oh, yeah.
So they've had a home up on the lake since like the early 70s. So we're out there every summer.
That's the best. Nice.
It's a crazy small world. In fact, when I joined the industry in 2020, I was going out to spend a couple of weeks there because it's like, can't go anywhere else,
Right.
I'm not missing a lot of litigation lunch meetings.
Right.
So was heading out there and I was chatting with a partner at a big firm in LA, like an AmLaw 10 firm.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, I'm actually going to be, out your way in SoCal. It's too bad, like under different circumstances we could meet up. And she was like, oh, where are you going to be? I was like, Lake Arrowhead. And she's like, I have a home in Lake Arrowhead. So it's just a crazy small world.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That area is beautiful.
Yeah, it's funny. So I grew up going to the Appalachian Mountains all the time.
Oh, sure.
And so it's a very different type of mountain range. And so we're heading out there with my wife, who's been out there her whole life. And she's like, you're going to love it. It's so beautiful. It's peaceful. You smell the pines, whatever. And you're driving. I mean, it's like a mile. It's like, 5,300 feet or whatever above sea level.
Right.
So you're driving up this mountain, just hairpin turns the whole way. And it's just like rock, just dead cacti and rock. I'm like, where the hell are the pines? And then you get up into the cove and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
The whole way up, I'm like, where the hell are they taking me? What is this place? So you are from Nebraska, right?
Yeah, Omaha. Grew up in Omaha.
Yeah, so obviously a big water sports guy like me.
Yeah, totally.
Nebraska and an Indiana guy. I mean, we're just water sport kings. So
we did
a
every
place like Arrowhead. Yeah, that's exactly right. So anyway, tell me about this wine. How'd you find out about this? Is there a story behind this?
Yeah, there is a story behind this. It's totally random. My brother used to be in the space. He was working for Terrace at the time.
Yeah.
He got the job offer to Terrace. And so we lived in San Francisco at the time. And so we went out for a celebratory dinner. I wanted to blow the roof off. So we went to like a French restaurant that had like the 12-course little, 3 things on the plate kind of restaurant. And we ordered 2 bottles of wine during the dinner. And the restaurant just was like, hey, we've got a 3rd bottle. We really think you guys would like it. It's on us. And we're like, why not? Like we're out to celebrate. It ended up being, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on the podcast or not. I'm telling everybody, this is the greatest winery of all time. I'm not even getting any revenue from this. It's called DuMol. It is the tastiest Pinot I've ever had. And everyone I've ever introduced it to, it seems like it's their new favorite. And so I'm my best friend, actually, Ryan Bosselman, he bought this for me as a celebratory bottle for launching ModeOne. So I thought, what an appropriate time to crack it open.
Oh man, I'm honored. First of all, that's a great context. It is a great excuse. A little e-discovery after hours action first in DuMol. I dig it. Well, is it a Sonoma winery? It
is. I think the winery itself is in Orinda, I think.
Have you been?
But it's in the Sonoma coast. I've never been to this winery. I was in Sonoma and Napa a lot when I was in San Francisco, but I never got a chance to visit this one. So it's definitely on the bucket list.
Yeah, I think the next time we get together, we do a live stream show. It'll be from there. Maybe we rope in George Socha and we do like
Oh yeah.
do a cross-pollination.
We can do a panelist of all the experts. That would be awesome. Ryan, right. I'm down. I'm holding you to that. 1 year. We're going to do it next year, everybody.
Oh, I dig it. All right. So you are from Nebraska. Did you go to UNL, Nebraska Lincoln?
I went to the University of Nebraska. So that's where I went to college, and then ended up kind of getting into the space because I needed a second job during that. I was kind of hesitant against student loans. So I picked up a second job, and it ended up being like an Icon Night Rider spinoff, like copy company. And in Omaha, there was no such company, right? There was, I don't even think Kinko's was a thing back then, right? So it was kind of nice because it was like the one vendor or copy shop in Omaha, and that's kind of where it all started.
You have the corner on the meatpacking market. Those financial moguls of Omaha. I heard a stat. Maybe you can tell me if this is true or not. Mm-hmm. Does Omaha have the most billionaires per capita of any city in the country?
I mean, it would make sense, right? Because Warren Buffett's from there.
Yeah, and TD Ameritrade, the Ricketts family. The
Ricketts family are also from there. So, like, I actually went to high school with one of their granddaughters. So, nice. If we're going per capita, then probably, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the population is of Omaha now, but say it's shy of 1 million and there's 2 people there. I mean, yeah.
Man, that's true. Depressing, but true.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, funny. All right. Hey, you were telling me off camera, by the way, that you're engaged. Congrats.
I am. Hey, thank you. She said yes.
That's big time.
Halfway there.
She said yes. Is there a good story? Do you have a good proposal story?
No, there's not a good story.
You don't have to tell it. That's okay. We'll just drink wine and we'll just move along.
The only thing I'll say is that I did have some things to say, and I was not nervous, which was good for me because that made me know like this is the good choice.
Yeah.
But I had like 5 things I wanted to say, and I just skipped them all. I was just like, you marry me? Like I just went straight to the end. I should have waited. I couldn't wait long enough.
My wife and I, she went to Notre Dame. And so like the big thing there is like to get proposed to at the grotto. If you don't know what that is, just Google Notre Dame grotto. It's beautiful. It's like a big tradition. And, I did not go to Notre Dame. I don't have any connections there other than the woman I married. So we were on campus and we're like bopping around this day, and I'm planning like the 3 or 4 things I'm going to say. And I don't know what happened. I hit my knee and like I blacked out. And when I came to, we were hugging. So I guess she said yes, because now we're married. And I just realized this is what your future holds. See, now there's 3 kids, and there is a frozen castle That's where Elsa and Anna live in Lego form.
Amazing.
And here, let's see if I can move so I'm at home on my laptop, sitting on a plastic stool because we're in the midst of. See, look at this. Your whole house will be. You'll lose everything. There's Rapunzel. So we've got half the cast of Disney just in this room with us.
That's awesome. I mean, my house is full of Legos and monster trucks. So
there you go. Yeah, I dig it. All right, man. So hey, I a lot of these episodes have been with people who have a career in endless support, which you do.
Yeah.
This show has not had a lot of conversations with people who have launched a software startup.
Oh.
Right. So there's been one or two episodes in that vein, but I would, if it's okay, I'd kind of like to turn this into like an impromptu, like how I built this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, you hinted at how you got into this space, but, if you could kind of encapsulate your career, right, in a minute or two, with the ending being, where in the world did this idea for ModeOne come about? And I guess let me preface it by saying kind of you can give the elevator pitch, right? The 30 to 60 second little, what does ModeOne do? And then walk us back through how you got to the point where it became this thing.
Sure. So on the experience side, like I said, I started in college, right? So I started as a paper jockey, and like as much as I'd like to chalk it up to, personal talent or something like that, I really got lucky. So I went from paper when scanning was coming out, and then Discovery Cracker came out, right? And so eDiscovery was blowing up, and so like I ended up getting poached out of Omaha from a firm out in San Francisco because I knew iPro, and I knew iPro for like 2 years, and they were looking for like the expert in iPro, and that it just the product that was out at this time had not been out for longer than 2 years, so it made me like the SME for them. I don't know. So I got lucky. I was out there. So that really was what got me to the law firm side. And then I went back to the dark side for a little bit. I was at United Lex for 7 years. And then, let's call a spade. I missed the weather out here. So I just started looking with my network and trying to see if anyone was hiring. And it turned out O'Melveny was hiring someone for the West Coast role. So applied for that and got out here. The elevator pitch on what ModeOne does is it was like I was kind of growing frustrated with having the same conversations with my attorneys every time about why phones were so hard. So it literally was just born out of self-preservation and laziness, I guess. So we built, the best way to put this is like I handled part of the merger between like Disney and Fox. And with that, we were taking like Fox-owned data from phones and making sure that transferred during the acquisition. And so the conversation I was having with these custodians about, hey, I'm here, I need to grab your text messages. And then they wanted to know exactly what we were taking. And my response had to be like, I'm grabbing a whole image, and I promise I won't look at everything. I'm just grabbing the text. That kind of uncomfortable custodial privacy conversation, I just had that too many times. So I looked into the market. I asked all the vendors we were using at the firm, like, what do you have for software that's supporting smartphones? And everyone had the same kind of Swiss Army knife, right? They all had the same products, and they're awesome products, right? But I kind of was realizing that we needed to go through a little bit of a shift on this data, the same way we did with laptops, right? Back in the day, if you did a laptop, you'd hire somebody and they would do a full forensic collection of that laptop. And then downstream, we were dealing with, people who processed operating system files, and did they denist the data? And there's all these problems. And then all of a sudden, somebody found a way to logically collect data from the laptop of only what you needed, right? And so I was trying to kind of come up with a way to do that. So me and my business partners, bashed our heads together and came up with a way to do that. So yeah, ModeOne now can go in and target specific data off your iPhone. We don't have to do a full image. And it's having quite the splash.
Which, first of all, it's incredibly needed. So congrats on your vision and your success.
Thank you.
One of the things that I would say is that, you joke a little in a self-deprecating manner, right? It's about being, you're lazy. Well, so first of all, Mark Cuban said, I want to hire smart, lazy people because they'll always find a better way. Right. So it's one thing to have an idea, right? Because a lot of people will complain about something like, oh, these custodians, I have to do this. Oh, these blah, 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 vendors, this, vendors, that.
Right.
It's one thing to have an idea. It's another thing to turn this into hey, I think I can build a product around this. Mm-hmm. And so, once people even get to that point, they're like, well, I don't know how you would actually do this, right? Like, I can write out some bullet points I want, or maybe I can mock something up in, Adobe or something, but people wouldn't know how to take that idea and turn it into a reality. So how did you go through kind of the ideation and then the actual begin to build this thing? Tell us about that.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I think I was talking to a colleague about this earlier. It kind of was where opportunity met preparation, I guess. So the way it happened was I was young. I didn't have a family. I had been kind of grinding through my career, trying to build up this career. And just a little personal, just because I live here in California, like I don't have $200,000 to throw down on a house. So like I just was saving all that money that I wasn't putting towards a house. So the fact that I was like young, I could take that risk, like that is really kind of what pushed me over the edge. But what got me to the edge was just realizing, like, I think, again, through just happenstance, like the fact that I was on the vendor side, understanding how all of the things work over there, right? Economically and workflow and kind of people they hire, right? And how they sell that to law firms and corporate companies and how they interact with that data. And like, then my law firm experience really came into play because I'm interacting with inside counsel, like directly, right? Like when I was on the vendor side, I'd have 4 layers between me and the GC, right? Well, here it was me and the GC. So just kind of having that purview gave me the comfort to do that. And then deciding to actually jump off the ledge, it was me being young and I wanted to take a risk. That was really kind of what happened.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss in a certain sense, right?
It is. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully we'll see.
Yeah. So you've had, a handful of some pretty positive announcements lately, including a recent funding round.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to us about how do you balance out publicly everybody sees the highs.
Sure,
right?
sure.
Like they see we raised money, we brought on this, we have this advisory board, we closed this big logo.
Look how easy it was.
Yeah. Exactly. But there was a lot of days where they didn't see like, oh man, like our burn rate, we only have X months of cash left before we just run out and we're gone. Or they don't see the big logo that you closed, but then they fell through because something got mad, or they don't. There's all these gut punches that go into being an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. How do you balance out that emotional roller coaster? And there's this phrase, it's lonely at the top, right? Like when you're a lit support manager, you can complain to the other lit support managers that are your peers. When you're the co-founder and CEO, you don't have many people to complain to, right? Yeah. So talks about how you manage through that emotional churn of building a company.
Sure. So I'll take the second part first. I think if there's one thing I've done right, it's surrounding myself with the right people. Like, so Andy Peterson, a longtime colleague of mine, told me back in the day that those that are trying to maintain control on knowledge are going to go nowhere, right? Like, you either need to find people who have knowledge that you don't have, or that you can instill that knowledge on and like duplicate yourself. And so I think like me, both on the people who my business partners, I'm very selective on who I wanted to bring on. It wasn't just, somebody that knew CISO or somebody that knew forensics, right? Like I needed to make sure that they were the top of their game, right? Because that's not like, I don't have a forensics credential behind me, right? So like, that's kind of helps me navigate that emotional roller coaster on that level. Like I know that they know the thing I've got them there for. So they just they own that, and that gives me peace of mind, right? So surrounding myself with that kind of talent has been huge. It's also on the investor side. Like my investors are like very seasoned, long time e-discovery litigation guys that have just been instrumental in not only just navigating through how it works and what's next and, you know, that kind of stuff, but like I'm just a sponge around those people and like just drawing from that knowledge and how they would have interacted with a situation or how they would change this pricing model, those kind of things, whether I agree with them or don't agree with them. Like it's this thing that's like this refining process that just makes the company better. So that's part of it. And then the other thing is, and this is going to sound cocky and I don't mean it to be, but like I have 100% confidence in what we're doing because given my background, it's not like we're a software guy that's just trying to show up on the scene and be like, hey, you know, do you need some software that baits labels? Like, yeah, there's 10 of those, right? Like it was, I did a ton of research for like years before I ended up spending the money to go do, you know what I mean? Like just understanding where the market's growing, understand my clients' pain points, the law firm's pain points, vendors' pain points, like addressing all of those under one roof has given me a ton of confidence, and like it makes it an emotional roller coaster. Why there's definitely highs and lows for sure, but it makes them bearable. I'm not sweating that we had a low month, you know, or something like that, right? I know that there's things down the road here, and we're just going to keep being focused on that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So what's next? What can we expect to see from ModeOne in the next couple weeks and months?
So many things. None I can talk about right now. The next 90 days are going to be awesome. It's the next 90 days are definitely a jump point for us. I think my team's done a good job over the last 6 months of proofing out the technology, right? Showing that it's a viable solution in the market, right? And we are now, I feel at least that we've got a little bit of buzz behind us, right? And there's a lot of interest in the market. And that is by no means saying that we are the perfect solution and we do everything. But the way that we want to grow in the industry is we want to help the industry, right? Like I think some people that want to get, especially on the software side, are just looking for quick dollars in the door or, you know, capitalizing on something. It's always been a kind of a dream of mine to just expand the tools, expand the education, expand the opportunity in the industry. And we want to be kind of at the forefront of that. So the next 90 days we've got a lot of great things in the press release pipeline. So it's going to be cool. I can't talk about them yet.
Well, where can people reach out to you if they do want to talk to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can email me directly, or our website is ModeOne.io, and there's a contact us page. Would love to have people reach out to me on LinkedIn, on the website, email me directly. Would love just the time to show you what we worked on, right? Not trying to force anything down anyone's throat, but just, you know, show them what's come up and coming, I guess.
Yeah, I tell people frequently, you know, when we're in the kind of the sales cycle, it's like, listen, as a startup, I need two things. I need cash flow and I need candor. And I'd love to get both from you, but if I only get the candor, that's okay. Right? Awesome. Matt, man, thanks so much for coming on the show. This was great.
Ryan, appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers.